Welcome to the Millionaire Mindcast, where we broadcast weekly interviews with millionaire minds from across the globe to empower you on your journey of unlocking a rich and fulfilling life. It's time to unleash your millionaire within. Now, here's your host, Matty A.
What's going on, Millionaire Mindcast fam? Welcome into today's show. I got a great millionaire interview with none other than Mr. Greg Reid. Greg, his background is literature. He's got his PhD in literature. He's been published in over 100 books, many of them New York Times bestsellers, and many of them all focused around millionaire mindset, success secrets, wealth made easy. And that's what we dig into a lot on today's episode. I know with everything that's going on right now, with a lot of people being out of work, or their work, their career, their finances, their wealth being impacted with everything that's going on with the coronavirus pandemic, many people are recalibrating, they're rethinking their career path, their finances, re-engaging with those things. And if you're one of those individuals like I am, today's episode is perfect for you. We talk a lot about wealth building. We talk a lot about resiliency as an entrepreneur, as an individual in general, how to break through to that next tier of wealth, not just survive what's going on right now, but how do you go on the offensive? And not just tactics and strategy, but also the mindset and the psyche and the success secrets that he has been sharing and studying with others for the last few decades. He is one of the top 5 keynote speakers in the world on motivation and mindset. When you got people like Forbes and Entrepreneur.com and many of the big publications who follow some of the best, most influential leaders in the space, to be dubbed one of the top 5 with how many people are in the motivational and speaking circuit in space, that's a big compliment. I've been following Greg for a long time, so I was really excited to have him on the show here today. And I know many of you are going to really love what you get from today's episode. So if you haven't hit me up yet, be sure to text me at 844-447-1555. If you're new to the show, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you guys have a question that you want answered on the show, text it in, 844-447-1555. I answer all of the messages. This show is for you. And this is a two-way street, not just me talking to you. I want to hear from you guys. So be sure to text me if you want to join our monthly contest and giveaway of over $1,200 in prizes. You can do that by heading over to millionairemindcast.com. Everything that we talk about is always in the show notes or in the show description. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button, or you can listen and subscribe on any podcasting platform that is out there. And all I ask is you get any kind of value from what we talk about in today's episode or any Millionaire Mindcast podcast episode, share it with a friend, a family member, somebody else that might be able to get some value from that, and leave a review so we can continue to spread this positive message for all entrepreneurs, aspiring millionaires, wealth builders. With that being said, we got a great show. We talk about some amazing things today that I know, one, are going to leave you energized. They're going to leave you inspired. They might give you a little bit of clarity on what that next right step is for you to take to get through whatever challenges you're going through, or to double down and scale to the next level that you're trying to break through to. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and dig into today's interview with the man, Mr. Greg Reid, right after this quick message from our sponsor. I'm excited to welcome my guest into the show today, Mr. Greg Reid. How are you doing, brother?
I'm always good, and the crowds go wild. Wow!
I need to get some of those sound buttons. Actually, one of my producers was saying we need to get one of those mixers in here so I can pump you up on the intro. So where are you tuning into us today from in the quarantine life?
I'm in the mean streets of Carlsbad, San Diego, California, a little beach town community. Gonna go skateboarding today. You know how it is.
Absolutely. Well, and as many of us have kind of had to recalibrate and readjust and revise plans and goals and work routines and habits, how has life looked different for you just in quarantine as an entrepreneur, as a business owner? How have you been adapting in this time of uncertainty?
I've been the most busy I've ever been in my life. It's so crazy. Bottom line, hope is contagious as well. And right now everyone's looking for it, right?
Absolutely.
So my business is blowing up in a great way because people are looking for a solution and a way out. And the way I'm looking at it now, through every obstacle, there's an opportunity. And so I'm really delving deep. And it's not rocket science. I'm just a regular guy, but I'm looking for common sense things that our ancestors did through the other challenging times and duplicating it. Want to hear an example?
Please.
I'm not giving financial advice, so I'm going to be very clear. I'm just saying what I'm doing, right? So as soon as this started happening, my billionaire friends started calling me. And they go, whoa, we're going to be even richer. I go, what are you talking about? Claps? And they go, no. There is so much gold and blood in the streets mentality. Look for it. So I said, okay. I went on the stock market, and I've never really traded stocks. So I opened a Fidelity Market account, and I realized that Starbucks was normally $100-$120 a share on sale for $50, right? Because of all this calamity. So I went and bought 1,000 shares, realizing what's going to happen the second we're released from quarantine. We're going to go to Starbucks. Not rocket science, but chances are it'll go back to normal. And I started looking at those type of things because success leaves clues. And I'm actually going in feet first so I can capitalize it when all this comes to be.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, those who are adapting right now, I find there's kind of this mentality of, what should I be doing right now? Should I be playing defense? Should I be playing offense? Should I be doing a little bit of both? What do you say to that entrepreneur, that investor, that individual who's like, oh, how am I supposed to be taking my foot off the gas pedal right now and revising? Or what is kind of the formula you think and recommend people change at a microscopic level, whether it's habits, mindset, routine, disciplines?
Well, first of all, watch the masses and go the other way. So when everyone's going, don't do that. That's tool number one. That's why you start looking at these things. It's so interesting. Even Bitcoin took a dive. So my son and I went and bought 6 Bitcoin because we go, all right, well, it's on sale, right? So we're looking at everything with the George Costanza opposite day, right? Just go like, what is the opposite of everyone else doing? And by the way, I've got the Human Fund made out in your honor here. If you ever watch a Seinfeld, that's great. And then I'm also looking at things right now saying, who can we collaborate with that we never did before?
Yeah.
The biggest thing that holds people back is fear. And it's not the fear of loss or the fear of success, fear of failure. It's the fear of criticism, what other people are thinking. And right now, no one's thinking about you. They're dealing with their own stuff. No one's looking through the windows. So right now is that perfect time to start that business or collaborate with someone. Look, if you got someone who makes websites and you got an idea for a clothing line and you know someone's great marketing, get together, create your own clothing line and get it out on Etsy right now. This is the perfect time to start laying that foundation. And when the smoke clears and comes out, you'll be far ahead of everyone else.
I love that. Yeah, I've picked a couple things to kind of double down on. One being relationships, right? The people that are on the offensive right now, that are talking with the right people, that aren't just sitting back and reacting, but are getting proactive, shifting, pivoting. And so doubling down on relationships right now. What are some of the things that you're doubling down on right now in your own business or in your own life that you're kind of going, this is going to pay big ROI and big dividend over time by going hard on it right now in this time of crisis?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's not going to be very long over time. And the answer is credit. So right now I'm going hard on credit. So I realize that right now people are not paying their mortgage. People are thinking it's going to be different. So the people with 750, 800 credit scores are going to be the new gods. And so what I'm doing is making sure that my credit is pure as possible, and I'm applying for more credit. So therefore, I'm going to be set in a great position because money's cheap right now, and I'm going to use other people's money to actually finance some of these great opportunities. I'll give you an example. If hypothetically, if I can get a line of credit for $100,000 or $200,000, and when the economy shifts and I can use that to buy something else that has a 100% possibility of going up and I'm only paying 3%, it's just pure logic. So I'm starting to see things from that, mindset, so to speak.
I love that. Now, what do you think people should be gearing up for in regards to opportunity? Are you thinking of buying businesses and that's how you're going to kind of scale up in some market share, building wealth? Are you buying real estate? Obviously you're buying some Bitcoin, some stocks. What is kind of your wealth mentality and, kind of recipe look like in a time like this and moving forward, knowing where we're headed?
Well, I don't think we've hit our bottom yet, and real estate hasn't even started to dip. Yep. So that'd be a foolish move. And again, not giving financial advice, that makes no logical some assessment whatsoever. You talk about another 6 months to a year from now, I think we'll have a different conversation. So right now you can see at the opportunities that are, right before us. And that's what we got to focus on. And right now, those are the things that are moving. And, you know, it's interesting. When I did a book called Wealth Made Easy, I went around the world and interviewed people worth $100 million to $1 billion. And I kept asking what they did differently. And I remember hanging out with Lamborghini. Tonino Lamborghini, him and his dad, you know, created Lamborghini. And I said, how did you guys create so much wealth and prosperity? He goes, that's easy. He goes, create a product, good, service, or experience that people will save their money to happily hand it to you. What do you mean? He goes, we never run an ad in our lives. He goes, no one's going to save all their money to buy your book, Greg, but people are going to cash in their 401k to drive one of our cars. He goes, you're not going to spend $4,000 a night to live in your own apartment, but you'll cash in the family's vacation fund as soon as this lifts to go give it to a mouse with big ears. He goes, if you can create a product, good, service, or experience that people save their money to give to you, you'll never run out of cash.
I love that. I was on a call the other day with Jeff Hoffman, and one of the things that he was saying was, you know, now more than ever, just like the economy has done over many a decades, and there are industries and sectors that are going to die and no longer ever exist from this. And there's going to be ones that are happening right now that are birthed and take off and boom from this. And you talk about he said, you know, now more than ever, if you're thinking about pivoting or you're figuring out that next business as an entrepreneur or as an investor, is what are my core skills and what are the problems and solutions that are needed out there? And how can we pivot and go and double down on that? What are some of the core skills you saw from studying the most successful people, you know, when you talk about in Wealth Made Easy and cracking the code, that people should really be spotlighting right now and skilling up in, or maybe paying a little bit more attention to?
Well, first of all we know is all we know. So I think when the smoke clears, we're going to see things from a different perspective. I'll give you an example. You know, I was talking to Jeff Hoffman the other day on a call, and we're talking about, you know, these kids in my neighborhood, and we're just brainstorming. You know, he's doing that info sponging thing, and we're realizing that all the kids were going around and they're staying at home, so they're charging the neighbors to walk their dogs for them. And I go, oh, that's a good business. And we said, but what would be the opposite of that business? And so my son, who's 8, we sat there and said, well, no one wants to go clean up the poop in their yard. He goes, what if I go to their same house that they know they're spending money on their dog, and I clean up the poop in the backyard so they don't have to do it? I'll make money, and I can just show up and spend a few minutes and make $20.
Yeah.
And so it's starting to see things from a different perspective. So what I'm saying is that I guarantee the things that are going to come out of this are things that the world's never seen. And here's another amazing good thing out of this worst calamity. Right now, for the first time, the only time in the history of this planet Earth, is everyone's in collaboration mode. Scientists from China are talking to the scientists in Russia, and the Russians are talking to Ethiopians, and they're talking to the same people over here in Canada. It's never been done before. And I guarantee not only will we find a cure for what's going on, but right now that's going to be one of those type of things where you play concentration, where you turn over a card and here's a truck, and then you wheelbarrow and they remember there's a truck here. That's going to happen too, where all of a sudden these scientists are going to go, hey, you know, I remember this guy in Ethiopia had this thing and this thing. Maybe it's going to be the cure to AIDS. Maybe it's going to be a cure to cancer. Maybe it's going to be something else will come from this horrible situation. Might be a thing that saves millions of lives.
What are some, I know you get a lot of entrepreneurs, you coach a lot of high net worth people and have consulted with big businesses, built big businesses yourself. What are some of the common questions that you're seeing come across at the higher level that people are trying to answer and are attacking? And those are some potential spaces people should pay more opportunity or attention to moving forward.
Well, the biggest thing that's, you know, scaring people again is fear, and it's fear of judgment. And then the biggest other thing is this unknown. Look, everyone's got a crystal ball, so everyone's afraid of the unknown, and people are trying to adjust and adapt to the unknown. Well, that's a moving target that can't be analyzed. So you can only look at hard data and then make your decision from that point of view. Stop looking at things from an emotional standpoint and look for a logic standpoint. And that's the common trend that these people are doing. Example, oil. Right now, cheapest oil it's been since whenever. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand. I went and bought Exxon and all the different oil because I realized that when this comes out and people start driving again, chances are oil's going to go back up. So it's looking at the data that you can see rather than being fixated on what you don't know.
How important is it to have balance in times like right now? Should people be balls to the wall, pedal to the metal. Now is your time to get ahead of the competition, to separate yourself from the pack with power rankings and players shifting and moving on the board and off the board. Should people be going all in right now, or should people be finding a little bit more balance and unplugging and taking the time off? And what are your thoughts on that right now?
Yeah, balance is for people that are standing still. For me, I like to be a moving target, right? I always like to look at what's coming next. Right now, I see the greatest opportunity ever, so I'm not really sleeping because I'm seeing what can I look at. So I'm constantly trolling the internet to see what's coming next and how can you capitalize in a positive way. Because again, I believe that the impact we can make by creating some financial abundance for ourselves and security will only make it better, so we can give back to charities and other things later on in life. And so that's the way I look at it. I'm selfish right now. I'm filling my own cup first. Yep. So I can feed the world what flows over.
I love that. What changes have you made right now to your business, to your personal life that you're surprised by and like?
A lot of ding-dongs and junk food. I had no idea. Being cooped in the house, you go through the cupboard and eat a bunch of this crap. But it is what it is. Hence, I got to go skateboard a little bit and work that thing off. And it's interesting right now. A lot of the stuff that I'm learning is just common sense wisdom, but applied. I'll give you an example. The first billionaire I interviewed for Wealth Made Easy, I said, "How did you make all your money? Will you teach me your secret?" He goes, "Absolutely." I go, "Why would you tell me your secret?" He goes, "No one ever asked." I go, "What?" He goes, "My grandkids fight over my inheritance. I'm still alive. The family fights over the family business." He goes, "But no one asked how I did it." And I go, "Well, tell me your secret." And I spent 3 days with him to reduce it down to one paragraph. And here's what it is. Time plus land is wealth. Now you can insert land for anything you want. Time plus land is wealth. And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "All I do is I look for a town anywhere in the world that's growing exponentially at 25% a year. Go on Google Maps, it's free." He goes, "I look for Broadway, Main Street, and I draw a line out 8 miles and I buy the dirt. I rent that dirt to farmers who pay the lease, so it's free land to me, and I get vegetables for years. And as a town continues to grow at 25%, it ends up on my plot. Since I'm on Broadway, Main Street, I own the biggest land. That's what I sold to the big box stores for 800 times what I paid, $1 billion. Right now, what we should be doing is thinking, what's 8 miles out from our own business? A quarterback in football never throws a football where a wide receiver is standing. They throw it downfield and let him run to it. That's what we should be thinking right now. Forget about what you're seeing or whatever. What's coming next? Example. Look, I don't know if restaurants are going to be able to come back after all this. I really don't know. But I do know that Grubhub and all these different businesses are thriving. So I'm not a rocket scientist, but I think the next generation of restaurants are going to be people that rent these kitchens from, for a church, for example, that goes vacant and start a restaurant and they just do Grubhub delivery out of there without the overhead of $10,000 a month. What can we do next? And so that's where my mindset, and that's where all my friends are thinking.
I love that. Land control, real estate is my world, and land control, you can never go wrong with land control, being in path of the development and just having that foresight, right? Like you're saying, how often do you consult with your board of advisors, and how frequent are the conversations you're having right now? Is it different now than it was 30 days ago, pre-coronavirus? Is your sense of, I heard this the other day of, fear is also a beautiful thing because it enhances our moment by moment, second by second awareness. And as long as it doesn't paralyze you and you kind of you find a way to get the butterflies to fly in formation, fear is actually a great thing. So yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with you on that one. But I don't see any of our friends in fear mode right now. So no one I know so far, Godspeed, has got coronavirus. So we see it on the news, but I don't know, touch, feel. So it's kind of still an unknown mystery, target. But I will say that I'm talking to my friends and mentors constantly. So last week I did an event live on called Secret Knock, because we couldn't do our live event. And I had the founder of Showtime Television. I had the founder of the E! Entertainment Network. I had the founder of Make-A-Wish. I had the founder of Priceline. I had the founder of Pictionary. I had the founder of Ugg Boots. I had the founder. And we started talking all these different things. And the more you can consult the people that can, surround yourself with people you have respect for. not people you have influence over. And that's where everything changes. So the big question is, where are we getting our information from?
Yeah.
Counsel, not opinion.
I love that. How can people break into that next level of wealth in this upcoming cycle? If someone was...
Got it.
There we go.
CPC, clues, patterns, choices. And this is the thing that's changed my life and all my rich friends' life. People that apply this will seriously change their existence, but you have to actually apply it. So that's a big newsflash. By the way, the pesky thing about personal growth is that growth part. So here's what it works. CPC, clues, patterns, choices. It works like this. It's about accountability and responsibility for everything that's about to happen. Stop blaming government, the buyer. Clues, patterns, choices. It works like this. I go on a first date. She's 20 minutes late. There's a clue. I go the second, third, fourth date. She's 20 minutes late every time. There's a pattern. Now it's my choice. I deal with it, adjust it, yell at her, whatever, confront it, but it's not her fault. She's just late. It's up to me to have accountability and responsibility of how I want to deal with it. How many times have we seen someone that's got a bad reputation in business, then cheat a friend? It'll be different for me this time. We get screwed over, and then we're mad at that person. There was a clue, pattern, choice. It'd be the same thing as watching a rattlesnake rattle, bite your sister, and then you try to pet the snake and it bites you and you're mad at the snake. So it's clues, patterns, choices. Right now, sit back and look at our relationships and go, if I was going to look at a clue and a pattern and choice, do I choose to be in this relationship? Business, personal, whatever, and start making your decisions. So what me and my successful friends, if we're looking at opportunities, boom, boom, boom. People that come into our sphere, boom, boom, boom. We get through them real fast. That's why we don't have a lot of close personal friends, because a lot of people show their clue and patterns so quickly. We decide, hey, I want to go golfing with that guy, but I don't know if I'm going to give him my retirement.
I love that. CPC. And guys, all of the resources, links, stuff that Greg has shared here in today's episode, we'll be sure to host that at millionairemindcast.com in the show notes. I want to shift a little bit more towards your psychology around what you're plugging into and where you're sharpening the axe right now. Where are you spending your time, knowing that you're someone who leads from the front and on stages and working with some of the smartest minds in the business and in the world? What are some of the things you feel called to up your game in right now?
Doing what I've been doing, but better. That's what it is.
What does that look like?
Well, I'll give you a great example. So last week, we were going to do our live event, Secret Knock. And it's the greatest event in the world that you cannot attend to. And the whole idea is you got to go through a screening process, costs thousands of dollars, and we won't tell you where it is or who will be there. And what happened is that we had to shift gears because everything went online. But by doing that, we said, hey, next time when we do the live event in September, how can we do it better now that we just took all this thing and we realized how much access that we had? So for example, in September, when we do the live event, yes, I'll bring in these great, amazing speakers that talk and collaborate. But I was going, now all of a sudden we have this new modality of this Zoom stuff. What if I started, Zooming in the president of Mexico, or, last time it was, what was his name? Edward Snowden was hiding in Russia. Or what if we started Zooming in all these different people that they can't fly here, or Lamborghini from Italy, instead of me spending $20,000 to fly him here first class,
right?
Zoom him in from his, estate. And so I'm going, what if we'd made a perfect medium of both modalities and had the best event ever?
I love it. So just pivoting and kind of, like you said, adapting, stepping your game up with the landscape that we're currently navigating and playing it to the best of your abilities.
Exactly. I called my buddies over at the big companies and said, hey, how do I get one of those hologram machines literally at my stage so I can just hologram people in so they look like they're there even though they're zooming in from wherever? So that's where I'm going. So the end game is, didn't want to say that. I was kind of him and hawing around it, but that's what I'm doing.
That's some good stuff right there, man. So you have been around world-class individuals your whole life, and you're constantly obviously top grading and expanding. Who is the next person that is an influencer, a thought leader that you're really looking forward to building a relationship with and paying attention to right now?
The only person I only have one that's eluded me.
Who is it?
Not as Musk. I haven't been able to get access to Musk. When I started writing all my different books is when he was coming into his, his big stuff, and it was really hard to pin him down. But getting to Branson, always easy. But it's been hard to get to Musk, and I have a feeling once we sit down, it'll be pretty cool. But one person, I had a chance to speak at the United Nations last year, and it was a bunch of really neat people. But I had a lot of time spending with Peter Diamandis, who started the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And I says, tell me your mindset. He goes, well, while everyone on this plane right now is trying to make this world a better place, which is very admirable, me and my friends are collaborating to get off of it to create the perfect planet somewhere else.
Next level.
Right. It is. When you start having conversation with people that see things from such a different perspective, then all of a sudden your mind goes, hologram thing.
Yeah, maybe cool. I'm thinking a little too small.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the beauty of your network, right? And I love how intentional you've been, and I'd love to get a little insight on how you've, one, set the intention for building your relationships and the strategy behind it, knowing that so many people are always going, I wish I had a mentor. I wish I had a better network, a better community around me. You have built something that is world-class, brother, and there's obviously something to it, right? So break it down for us on how you've gone about building this world-class network of Hall of Fame human beings moving mountains.
First of all, 80% of everything we need is already within our sphere of influence. But we're waiting for the perfect time to call them. And it's called the bad case of the one size. That means I'm going to take action once I get the kids out of the house, once I get the big break. But there's right now the best time to take action with that Rolodex that you've been sitting on is right now. Call those people up and say, hey, what are you going through right now? How can we collaborate? Hey, by the way, I've got something over here. And here's another thing too. This is a very important little tool. Stop making people work for you. I'll give you an example. When I come off stage, so many times I get calls, texts, emails saying, I want to be of contribution. How can I help you? Amazing. That's a great mindset. But now you're making me work for you. I don't know who you are. I don't know who would think. So now I've got to interview you for a half hour just to find out how you can and can't. Stop it. Stop it. Here's what you do. You get off stage and go, hey, I love your presentation. I notice you're on Instagram. You got 500,000 followers. I love your memes. And by the way, I'm a meme maker. Let me make you 2 free ones. If you like it, maybe you'll hire my services. Done. Because I know exactly what it is. And the way I build my relationships, to answer your question, is I go about things that way. When I go approach people, I'm very clear and concise. And I also have specificity when I do it. So if I was working on a book called, Stickability, I would sit there and say, hey, the guy who started NASCAR, I need 12.5 minutes of your time. I'm not going to take you to lunch. I'm not going to pick your brain. I'm going to ask you one question. From the time I get there, time I leave is 12.5 minutes. The question is, how did you not quit when you're faced with your biggest challenge? And if I'm not out in 12.5 minutes, you can have security kick me out. The chance of them giving me that time is 100% because it's clear, it's concise, and it's to the point. That's what people's missing. Stop picking our brains. Stop taking us to lunch. Stop buying coffee. I don't know you. But if you can come at us with that type of approach, it opens up the doors of opportunity. And I guarantee you, if you do it right after 12.5 minutes, they're going to take you in their office and become friends.
I love it. And I'm sure you've heard this before because you are this. I call it the likability factor. It's how I've been able to get a lot of my mentors and people way smarter than me to support me and kind of pull me into opportunities and environments and conversations that maybe I didn't earn my right to be in yet, but it was the likability factor. And you have this, Greg, and I've said this before. It's somebody that has been willing to work hard and has a resume to back it up, that is humble and a servant and looking to add value is always somebody that people want to help, want to invest in, but you got to earn that opportunity into it by showing up first, right? And so I just love that you brought that up, and obviously that has paid dividend for you over the years. Final wrap up, I know you got to get running here, is tell us a little bit more about your favorite book that you've written and your favorite book for right now that people should read based on where we're at in the times that we're currently in.
Right now, everyone should read. This is a very cool one here. It's called The Ultimate Gift by Jim Stovall. Amazing book on mentorship about tough love. Get off your ass. Stop whining and complaining. Look for the opportunities at hand and go forward. And my favorite book I've ever done. First of all, everyone, I've been published in 100 books, 45 different languages. I got a star up here on the Walk of Fame for writing books. So that's like picking your favorite child, but I'm going to say 3 feet from gold, especially because it's out right now. And that's about a message from Think and Grow Rich of not giving up right before the miracle happens. First, there's a dream, and then there's a challenge, and then comes victory. Unfortunately, most people quit in the challenging times. And I realized to get what we want, surround ourselves with people that are getting the results that we want for ourselves today. For example, when I went to Africa and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, I did not ask a dope smoking surfer here to take me up to the mountain. I found the Sherpa that had climbed it 900 times. Wherever they put their boot print, I put my boot print. I followed successful actions. When I want to be a best-selling author, I didn't go to people who wrote great books. I didn't want to be a great writing author. I went to Barnes & Noble. I bought every bestseller. I asked them their system, their program. I duplicated for myself, and here we are today.
You guys heard it from Mr. Greg Reid. Greg, appreciate you, your time, your leadership, and really in our industry, but in a space now more than ever that needs it, and how you're showing up, man, and holographs, and raising the bar in general. And for those that want to check out Greg, where is the best place for them? Website, social media handles for them to follow you and check out some of your amazing content. And we'll be sure to link all those up at millionairemindcast.com.
Well, thank you. Yeah, just Google Greg Reid. I mean, you'll find me. And then if you want to go to Instagram, which is the best way to connect with me, because everything's direct message nowadays, it's just Greg S. Reid on Instagram. But here's the thing. If you DM me, I'm cool responding 100% because it goes to me. I don't want to talk about what you ate for dinner. I want to talk about the weather. I don't want to talk about your family, friends. But if you go, hey, look, I'm working on this situation, or, what would you recommend for this? I'd be glad to answer. Specificity, and I promise I'll respond.
You guys heard it. Be sure to check out Mr. Greg Reid. We appreciate you, brother. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Talk soon. Bye.